Well, joining me now to discuss former New Jersey Superior Court judge and the host of Judging Freedom podcast, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, did I miss a beat?
No, you didn't miss a beat. You're 100% correct. The FBI is the terrorist organization. They are the terrorists when they make decisions to go after people because of their First Amendment protected rights, whether it's speech or assembly or petitioning the government or freedom of the press or freedom of religion. You're Roman Catholic, check. You go to a Latin mass, check. You don't like the government, check. You criticize the IRS, check. They're going to look at you. Why? Because you fit their algorithm. So, Carl, let's start with basics. The FBI is not authorized under the Constitution. The statutes that created the FBI authorize it to solve crime, not to predict crime. The FBI has morphed away since the George W. Bush post 9/11 years from solving crime to predicting crime. That is a very, very dangerous thing for government to do. The Congress didn't consent to it. The Constitution doesn't authorize it. And whoever the next FBI director is, whoever Donald Trump or whoever the Republican president is, we know it's not going to be Joe Biden, needs to give Chris Wray his marching orders and appoint someone who will dismantle these parts of the FBI.
Yeah, you mentioned Chris Wray. Remember when he said this?
We consistently see that it's the Chinese government that poses the biggest long-term threat to our economic and national security.
Okay,
what poses the biggest long-term threat to our economic, national, and personal liberty is people in the government who hate the Constitution and who don't feel bound by it. That is today's FBI. It's not just the FBI, it's all federal law enforcement. I have to say this. There are many FBI agents in whose hands I would repose my life and everything I own. It is FBI management of which I speak, who has dispatched these courageous FBI agents to do what they hate doing, which is trying to predict crime.
Yeah, but you keep saying that predict and solve crime, and it's a very important distinction. I'm glad you brought that up because it's not like Minority Report where they can see it in the future and be like, oh, you might do this. It's almost like you're guilty by association with no trial whatsoever. And we're seeing it now where they identified somebody by the creases in his ears from a grainy security thing, and then they sent 9 cars to his house to knock over his entire property, and then arrested him at gunpoint for something he did 3 years ago. They never even called him to turn himself in. This is what we're seeing now. What can be done about this other than a complete gutting of the 7th floor?
Well, unfortunately, it's going to take another election. I say unfortunately because we're going to have to live with this for at least another year and a half until there is a new president in the White House. And Chris Wray is a Donald Trump appointee. A lot of us tried to talk him out of appointing
Chris Christie's recommendation.
He appointed him.
Yeah. No, but Chris Christie was the recommender of that, so we can thank him for that. But Judge,
listen, the FBI took the same oath you did when you joined the military and I did when I became a judge, which is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution as the courts have interpreted it, not as the FBI wants it to be. As the courts have interpreted it, they can't be in the business of predicting crime. There is no governmental agency in America that is lawfully in that business.
Yeah. But Judge, last question, which is, we're sitting here in this and the FBI is picking off people and making an example of not 1 or 2 people, but everybody they can get their hands on. They're saying, oh, this guy might be a leader of something. This guy might be a thought provoker. We better figure out something. They're finding a guy and saying, let's go see if he did a crime. And if we can't do that, we're going to wrap him up into something else where he has, like Mike Flynn, has to plead guilty out of legal necessity because he ran out of money, or we're going to catch him in a process crime.
There are 5,500 federal crimes. The Constitution authorizes 2. All of the others, Congress has made up. There is not a single human being on the planet conversant with all of them. If the FBI wants to find something that anybody did wrong, you, me, for criticizing them today, they'll find it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Judge Knapp, we appreciate your insight on this very much, sir.
Of course, Carl.